Today we'll break down how I edit my moody cinematic Instagram Reels on Capcut using a very recent example. All of this is just standard iPhone 15 footage, not even ProRes log, that I shot during the monsoon season in Seoul, South Korea. After I've chosen the best clips and imported the footage, the first step I like to do is create an adjustment layer with a generic overlay of edits applying to all of the footage. First thing I did here is to make the shadows very dark for maximum moodiness. After that, I've added just a tiny bit of blue tone with the curves in the midtones. The middle of the curve is the midtone, the lower part is the shadow, and the higher part is the highlight. Didn't want to go too crazy here, just a tiny bit is fine. The next part is HSL for individual color editing. We're gonna leave every other color alone and just focus on the warm yellows and oranges and simply add saturation for some nice color contrast with our primary color, which is a dark blue tone. If you're editing standard iPhone footage, I would advise against changing the hue too much, but if you've shot with a proper camera or even log, you have a little bit more flexibility with color editing. Then finally we've done some more color editing with the temperature and hue, making the temperature just a little bit colder and compensating by dragging the hue to the left to not make the footage too purple for my tastes, and finally added some vignette for a darker, moodier look. After these steps, our initial color layer is done, and now we have to match the individual clips so that they're consistent enough with each other. If the clip appears too dark, I increase the brightness, and if the clip appears not dark enough, usually I like to actually bump down the shadows instead of the overall brightness for that maximum moody look. Then I also try to match the white balance so that it's relatively consistent with each clip. Once I'm happy with the color grade, I go over to Instagram and screen record the song that I'm about to use for this reel so that I know when to cut each clip. There's no real trick that I use at this point, I just kind of listen to it and cut when it feels natural. But before exporting, I mute the whole clip and then re-add it through Instagram so that I avoid some copyright issues, which is also why I couldn't actually show the real song on this YouTube video. For an added bonus, you can now do sound design directly on Instagram by combining different sounds. And they actually have a bunch of regular sounds in their library, and I suspect people are going to add more as this feature becomes more well known. So for an extra cinematic touch, I've also added some rain sounds and some traffic sounds for a basic yet more immersive and somewhat cinematic sound design. You could of course go a lot further, but for this particular clip I didn't feel it was totally necessary, and I'm lazy. And there you have it. That's all that I did to make this moody cinematic reel. I like to keep my edits relatively simple and really just focus on the footage that I shoot. Check out other tutorials on this channel, and also do let me know what kind of tutorials you would like to see in the future, because sometimes I run out of ideas. And of course, if you'd like to support me or make your edits even more streamlined, you can check out my website for some LUTs or even some Lightroom presets.